When you're in London, I know you're not there all the time, but when you are there, what do you miss in food that you get here?
Oh, the sunshine. I know that sounds silly, but just that sunshine you get in Australian food when I come home and...
Sunshine in the food.
In the food, you just taste it. You taste. I think it's the way our food's grown. It's the way our chefs cook. In London, people's cooking comes from very much a classic European training, so it's still quite French. In London, Europe, they still source food. You still have a strong sauce section in the kitchen. In Australia, we dress food. Whether it's an Asian dressing or we do, a bit of olive oil and lemon juice, we just very much lightly, dress food, but it's all about the fresh produce.
Right. Prawns and mangoes.
Mangoes, Australian mangoes, which you can't get at all anywhere else rather than here. Very much the food of home, I think for anyone, is always something that's really important. It brings you back somewhere. And when I'm in the UK, I still cook like an Australian. I still make salads with every meal. And I think it's that, a strange way of taking your culture somewhere else and making that an important part, especially for your own children as well. You want them to grow up, not English. My daughter will come back and because they eat school lunches in the UK, they'll have had shepherd's pie and food that I haven't eaten for about 30 years. And I'll laugh and they'll go to friends' houses and have Yorkshire pudding. And they say, Daddy, why did you ever make Yorkshire pudding? And I laugh because, their food experience is quite similar in a way to what I grew up with, that very old-fashioned English cooking.
We've ended up in a weird place about food in a way. I mean, there's never been more interest in it.
Yeah.
People love watching food shows, cookbooks. It's been great for you. You've been at the right time. Yeah. But we're fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter.
I know, it's hard. I think we're a generation. I was talking to my my mother-in-law and mother. We were still very close. For them who were born at the end of the Second World War, restricted food was very much a part of their life. My mother was talking about the way they'd have, porridge, that they'd have to wait and they'd be lucky if they got to chew the bone after their dad had eaten the meat because there wasn't enough meat to go around, and basically the dad got the meat because he was working and the kids got to chew the bone. And my mother-in-law, who grew up in an orphanage, was talking about it, where food, it was very much restricted what you could actually, because of the cost of it. My generation was the first where food, in the 70s was very plentiful. There was no problems with it. But then it flipped over. There's a moment when it flipped over where it's got so cheap that you can eat as much as you want. For the first time in human history, really, we have to learn how to deal with that.
You have to choose to eat.
We have to choose
less.
Yeah, we have to choose to eat less, which is we're not programmed for, which is very, very hard to consciously eat, less than you want every meal, which is really what you have to do.